big part of self-love that is uncomfortable is learning how to let things go that no longer serve you. Unfortunately, there comes a time in life where everything have to fall off in some type of way, whether it's a friendship, whether it's an environment, whether it's a job, relationship, whatever. You can feel it in your body emotionally when it's time to walk away, because that is no longer serving you. So I want to talk about grieving things that no longer serve you out of the act of self-love. It's true inner work. It's not even about other people. I'm taking it deep within myself. So back when I was in college, I believe, when I came back from college, I had a situation where my lifestyle completely changed. I was on my own and I had to figure everything out for myself. So that was a real wake-up call for me, and I had to grieve my old lifestyle. But in that moment, it seemed so, how would I say it? It seemed so, it was important to me, because I've been that way and lived that way and lived that comfortably. I would say that I lived that comfortably years. So when I came back from college and I had to figure things out on my own from zero. So me starting from zero, I had to straighten up and understand what was really important in life. Now, when I was younger, I was so materialistic. Let me say that. I was extremely materialistic, and when it was time for me to let these things go, I felt like a part of me was dying. And it wasn't like I had to let it go forever, because of course I didn't let it go forever, but at that point in time, I had to start from zero. So whatever I had previous to that, I had to let that go. I had to go through a whole grieving ceremony for my materialistic things. So imagine having to grieve an actual person, or an actual relationship, environment. For me, it was very sentimental for me to let go of my comfortability of my home and my car and had to figure out everything on my own. All I had was myself and my job. But here's the thing. After I was able to grieve that situation and completely let it go and realize, okay, all of these materialistic things is going to come back, but you're getting it underneath the wrong circumstances. Is this really the way you want to live your life? Is this really something that, are you willing to give up your happiness and your peace for these materialistic things? And that's pretty much what it came down to. So when I say letting things go that no longer is serving you, you have to realize what those things are costing you. So when I realized, living in my mom's house still at that old age, parenting style in a whole, it was no longer serving me. So whatever I got from that parenting style was no longer important to me. And in the same sense, I knew that I can get it back. It wasn't that. It was me just having to let everything go and pick up and move forward. I had to grieve that process. So back to me grieving. I had to have like a little funeral for my sneakers, and I had like a dumpster behind my house, and I had to go pack. It was about, I don't know, like 50 boxes, and I had to go carry them outside and go put them in a dumpster. And then I had to release it, because baby, I was so attached to these things. I'm just like, God, I don't want to let it go. But then God is like, bitch, what? This? Anyways. And then everything's just 10 times, like, life's just 10 times better. But in that point in time, it was very hard for me to let that go. But I had to push through, because I understood that, like I said, that parenting style, that house dynamic that we had was no longer serving me. It was time for me to move forward. And I use that example to say it does not matter what it is. This is a living dynamic with me and my mom. And then, to be honest with you, after I decided to leave that comfortability, our relationship grew. Our relationship grew because we were able to be ourselves. My mom is a Gemini and I'm an Aquarius. Us under the same roof, it wasn't it. So, and it was time. It was time. But outside of all of that, our relationship grew. We got so much closer. We understand each other. We allow each other to be them. And we love each other the best way we know how. And yeah, I wouldn't be able to get here if I was still stuck in that environment and holding on to those things that was no longer serving me. And honestly, at that old age, the only thing, it was just comfortability. It was more than just the materialistic things. It was comfortability that I had to let go of. But in that moment when it was time for me to let go, baby, I pushed, I ran, and I was uncomfortable for a while. I had to find my findings. But once I did, and I got back on my feet, and I got my own place, and I built myself back up, and I got my job, and I got my house, and I was able to build a home for myself, and I was able to build structure for myself and how I wanted to live my life, and I was able to put what I want in my refrigerator and eat how I want to eat. I was able to put what I want in my room. No TV. I don't want to play that stuff. You know, it's just understanding on the other side of it and letting go. You find joy, you find happiness, you find peace. Let go of all things that's not serving you. Now, back to what I was saying, I use the example of my mom because I want you to understand nothing is worth holding on to that's no longer serving you. Now, it wasn't like I let go of her as a whole. I just moved out of her house. But the point I'm trying to make is this is the person that birthed me. And if I can move past this situation and get to the other side, anybody can move. You can move past any situation. And honestly, this helped me get through life because that was an extremely hard thing for me to do. But on the other side, like I said, it's just so amazing. So when you understand that, when you get through that, all right. So I had a conversation with a friend, right? I got another story. She's actually a flight attendant. So we were talking and I was explaining the process of getting through the hard things because it's great things on the other side. And she made a relationship to the plane. Terminology she used was, it's just like when you're on a plane. When you go up, it may be a little bit of turbulence. It may be a little rocky. But once you get through the storm and you land on a beautiful island and the sun is shining, it was all worth it. And I'm like, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. That's literally what life is about. But you have to understand what's serving you and what's no longer serving you. I feel like a lot of people stick around for things and environments that are not serving you, that is not helping you at all. The point I'm trying to make is understand what's for you and what's not for you. And if you don't understand it, your body will tell you, and you just have to pay attention. Now, when you pay attention to that and you realize something is no longer for you, you have to immediately remove yourself out of that situation. Please remember, self-love is the best drug.